again, I'll be sharing how we can perform flux and variance analysis in the account reconciliation tool. I'm working in the application here as carried, and I'm at a point in our close cycle that I'd like to perform a review of our reconciling items. I specifically want to look at the variance explanations and variance alerts. So let's start with a summary view of our current explanations, and we'll work our way backwards from a summary level and down into the details. So we can see we're back in account reconciliations for Netsuite. And we'll see all of our items and tasks that are available to us. And one of these is a grouping of reports. And we have a large number of reports that are already pre-built, predefined. And we'll group these into 4 different areas: reconciliation, compliance, flux, and profiles. So I want to open up the flux analysis reports. See that we have 2 reports available, detailed and summary. And I can even choose what kind of type the file type that I want to export these out into. Well, I want to distribute this in a fixed format, and so I want to ensure that I generate this as a PDF. In generating as a PDF, I want to choose the period, and the period could be run on historical, so you can always go back in time and, of course, run this report. And I'll take you directly to the reports that were part of this package. And the reports that are part of this package, one of them is a reason code summary report. And a reason code are these numbers here, 5, 8, 9, 10. These reason codes are assigned during the variance explanation adjustment. And that's when a user, or me as carried, I go in and I perform an explanation on a balance or in a difference, a reconciling difference, and I'm required to select a code as part of that. Now notice I have some things that are other here at the bottom. You know, it might behoove me to update in the future this job code number 10 to be something that's more specific to and descriptive, or require some more supporting detail for it. But I should be able to see that when we come back to look at the account. I know I want to look at cash, and so I want to look at the second report, which is our detail report. And now we can see here's our cash account, and here's our difference, $2.93 million. Here's those job codes that you saw from the previous page. And then here's descriptions for each one of those adjustments and explanations that have been entered in the application. So now let's target into those a little bit more. Let's see how else we've been notified that there are explanations that are required. I ran the report, I could see those, that's great for the end of the cycle. But what if during the cycle I don't want to run that report all the time? There's a really quick and easy way to do that. And we'll come over to the work list here. This contains all of our reconciliation items as part of, that are open as part of the schedule or have been auto-generated. And there's a number of alerts in the work list that have been auto-generated. And you can notice they're auto-generated based on the IDs that are associated underneath of them. And look, I have a Flux alert, and says large variance analysis has been detected. You know, and maybe I post on here a comment that I need somebody else to review this, and I'm not exactly sure what to do on it, so maybe I kick it over to somebody else. That's all part of a workflow process. And on the right hand side, you can again see the pane in the drawer of all the things associated with just this particular alert, and that get archived in the system. Priorities are already associated because a rule, the auto rule, was run on this reconciliation and kicked this out as an alert during the reconciliation process because this was a large variance. There's thresholding for that. So thresholding, we'll see in a minute, for this, produce the medium. I could also set thresholding to produce a high or a low. And that's important for a number of reasons, right? When you've got a lot of explanations to perform, being able to target into the ones that are most important at the current time are very valuable. And so we have a workflow, and you can see here we have the reconciliation. And now look, here's our $3.93 million. And how did we get there? Let's figure that out. Here's our ending balance from the prior period, June 2023, or May 2023. And here's our current period, June 2023. And we'll see our difference, and we'll see explanations, and then we still have an unexplained difference, which we can follow up on later. But I'm tracing out the report right now. And so let's figure out where those explanations were entered at. And here they are. We have simply another sheet under this work list item next to the summary. So we see our explanations. We can also from here add additional explanations if we want to. We can put in the amounts, add that to that. And we can see here's our functional total. So we need to reconcile to that 6 million. So I'd want to start to make explanations as part of that. But let's take a look at what's here. Here's a description, AR turnover increase. And there's those reason codes that I mentioned earlier. So I can choose and make my own reason codes as part of configuring up this application. And notice I have an other, and that's why I mentioned maybe we change that to something different in the future, define that a little bit clearer. But here we can enter the amount. We can also enter it into a specific currency, and the system will perform the currency conversion and translation for you. Okay, so let's find out how this alert was generated. I mentioned that that was system generated. And we're going to take a look at profiles. Profiles are associated with reconciliations and ultimately rules that are run when the reconciliation, the data sources for those recs are loaded. And we have a large number of formats. We have all these great filters to narrow down into just the ones that you're working with because the system's unlimited to how many different types of formats you could define. But I know that we're looking for variance analysis monthly and cash. So here we are. Here's the profile for cash. This runs every single time that integration of auto match rule runs, and all the different variables associated with it. Here's our format. This defines how the data is coming into the application. And here's how I mentioned earlier about how this was set as a medium. I could choose based on thresholding to make a high alert or a low. Associate instructions for each of these alerts. And notice if I had a very simple instruction here, all fluctuations must be explained. Define the workload. So currently I own this particular, I'm a preparer for this cache reconciliation, and a reviewer is a colleague. And I can choose when that starts and the time frame for that. But let's get to the rules. These were the rules that were processed as part of running this import. We have an auto approve rule that was executed and run. And then auto approve does exactly this. So between the balance of 500,000, or between the difference, the delta, 500,000 and minus 500,000, negative 500,000, an auto approve will run. And the transactions will be automatically reconciled, and no longer does the user or do I have to take action on that particular reconciliation. But notice that you have to have a statement in a case of what's the case when the variance is greater than that threshold, 500,000, and it's lower than that bottom threshold of negative 500,000. And so notice that the rule will be run. It's an internal rule, system rule, and it's to create an alert. You name the alert, you set a type of alert. Again, that's back to where I set the prioritization. So I can have multiple conditions created in here with different priorities, and as well define my conditions. I can easily create additional conditions. Balance, transaction, on any different attribute that's associated with this reconciliation. So you can see there's so many capabilities here. So what happened is that those explanations that I showed you in that report, they're all more or less than the 500,000 and negative 500,000. So an alert kicked out, it halted the reconciliation process until these alerts were approved. After this alert is cleared, then an auto submission of the reconciliation will be performed for any of those differences functionally between, still again between negative 500,000 and 500,000. So you can define different orders here on how to do this. You can always track the history on the changes that was made to this profile. That's an important thing to do. So I hope this gives a good summary of Flux analysis, variance explanations, and please let me know if you have any additional questions. Thank you.